everybody. Welcome to the August 22nd AMA. We got MGpai and Kushti with us today. How you guys doing?
Hey guys, I'm doing pretty well.
Doing well. Long time no see.
I know it feels like it's
AMA.
been weeks since the last AMA, right? We did some spaces in between.
Yeah, and we'll have spaces. I guess in 2 weeks, right? But we also need to consider a topic. So, did you make a poll for the community?
I forgot I was assigned to make a poll for the community, Kushti.
All right. So, we have a couple of days probably to ask the community on the next topic and consider. Dribble one. So, there will be space in 2 weeks then, and so we can have bi-weekly MAs, bi-weekly space. So we'll be even more flexible with format. And I will get a couple of questions from Michael over the Telegram at some point. So we'll ask them. But first update. So let's start with Rare Evo participants.
Oh, look at this! I'm wearing my shirt. You wearing your shirt, MGpai?
No. I still got to dig through mine, still in a pile somewhere.
In their dirty clothes that you haven't washed yet since the weekend. Perfect. So Rare Review was kind of a whirlwind weekend, right? Just flew in, worked our butts off for a good 3 days. Some of us did, MGpai included. And then flew right out. I think I left Saturday night. MGpai, how late did you stay? Did you end up staying till Monday, Tuesday?
Oh no, I left on Saturday, and Saturday I have no energy. I came from Japan that weekend, so I was so tired. Yeah.
Dan put you in like one of those freight carriers. You were riding with chickens all the way from Japan.
Yeah.
Just saving money for Zengate. So yeah, I was what's it called? Dan, MGpai, and I bunked together. So it's 1 a.m. and I'm trying to sleep off some 3 a.m. my time kind of thing, and I get a text from MGpai. Hey, QX. What's the address of the Airbnb and what's the code to get in?
I was so lucky he was up.
I wasn't. You woke me up, MGpai. You woke me up. Anyway, so it was quite the event. We had what we initially thought was really prime kind of real estate, which was right across from the main stage. But in reality, from what we discovered, prime real estate is essentially just right near the big IOHK booth, just right in that central area there. So I guess for next time we'll know what's up there. But it was good. We set up the space. We came in. Dan had some last minute tweaks to the space, so we tweaked it up a little bit. But we ended up combining all three Zengate Palmyra / Sigmanauts Ergo / Rosenbridge into one kind of L shape. And DC Spark was kind of in the upper corner of the L there, and their own all segmented away. So it was good. A lot of people came to us with name recognition for Palmyra, which was fantastic of an entry point. So we then went on to explain that, this is a combined booth of Rosen. Hey, have you heard of Rosen? Okay, well, Rosen's built on Ergo. Here's what Ergo is. So a lot of those conversations back and forth with people. You're smiling, MGpai. Why are you smiling?
No, it was great, so I remember, some people saying that Cardano's a token on Ergo and all. It was funny.
Well, Joe tries to tell people that at those conferences. But Joe gave away a ton of Rosen shirts. I think he brought like maybe 50 or plus Rosen shirts, maybe 100. And those things went like hotcakes. I swear people just come to these things just to get t-shirts. Like we had our swag, so we got a lot of Ergo swag as well. We have Ergo sweatshirts. We have these absolutely amazing mining hats, which we'll talk about in a sec. We had t-shirts as well with that Ergo, the original astronaut on there that you can see in some of the pictures on Twitter. So we were selling those to try to recoup some of the money. People would just come and take them and walk away. They're like, oh, swag. And they took it like right out from the big screen that said the prices. So people are used to having those things for free. I guess if you get bigger, you can rely on selling them perhaps. So we probably need to rethink our strategy and what that means for swag in these events in the future. Maybe more beneficial just to give them away. Kind of thing. So, so the hats specifically were the hit of the entire show. So many. The funny thing is the duality. I called it multi-chain.
Cool.
The duality of the hats, because we would have people come up and be like, "Oh my God, make mining great again! I love that. I'm a miner. This is perfect. I want one." So we'd sell a hat that way. We'd also have people come up and say, "Oh my God, I have the real Make America Great hat at home. This is perfect. I love it." So this hat has the ability to hit both sides of the spectrum. The sides that are pro-Trump, pro-Make America Great, and the sides that are like, "Oh, this is funny. You might be picking on Trump," and you're using that kind of analogy there. So this hat is like strikes that chord right in the middle, which is perfect. Mark the Shark, was also there. We were wearing the hats outside of the casino, and we went to a restaurant and we promptly put them in our bags. We didn't want to be cause some commotion out there, because I imagine a lot of people at the Mexican cantina have no idea what Ergo proof of work mining is. So we figured we'd play it safe, better safe than sorry in that instance. But it was great. I think we had a lot of interactions with the people there. What I found, and maybe MGpai, you can tell me your thoughts on what you saw. I'd say we had about 50% of the people across our booth were other exhibitors, and 50% of the people were guests. So I don't think there was. I'd like to see the numbers of Rare Evo, but I don't know. All I'm saying is there's a lot of room for telling people about Ergo and that didn't know it before, that were there for Cardano, or there was some Solana people there as well. As guests, but then also about projects, saying, "Hey, here's what you can use Ergo for. Here's what Palmyra does. Have you heard of Rosen Bridge? You have a token on Cardano. We can bridge it here. You can bridge it from there," kind of thing. So a lot of those were the exhibitors going on there, which was interesting, I thought. And by the end of the conference, I was convinced, maybe it was because I was tired, maybe not, but I was convinced that these conferences are more along the list of, I don't want to say circle jerk, but I want to say other people have described it as circle jerk, but I want to describe it as a proof of life, I'd say. So if you're a project in the crypto space and you show up to this thing and you have a booth and you're talking to other people and mingling them with them, that's proof that you're alive and you're doing it. So I guess if we look at it under that lens at this point in time, when the way things are, maybe that's Jamai confirmed, definitely circle jerk. And Jamai is the one that got we had one VIP pass with our thing. Jamai got the VIP pass and went to the Elijah Wood disco party thing. I think he only stayed for an hour though. It's very loud. MGpai, what are your thoughts on how Rare Evo went?
Yeah, I think it was a great event, a lot better than last year's Rare Evo. Much more exhibitors around. Like QX said, there's a lot of exhibitors, so I don't even know if like half the people were just exhibitors or like just normal people genuinely curious. So I'm sure there's a lot of exhibitors and their friends and their family, more so than like just the average public. I think maybe for next year we should try to advertise the general public more, at least like even more so like at least the general crypto public, right, outside of the Cardano ecosystem. That itself would be a great start. But definitely a better event, and I think the quality of projects were better too than last year, since it's probably more filtered out from the market conditions and all. So I enjoyed a lot of projects, a lot of gaming projects. However, the games this time around seem to be a much more legitimate. Like they seem much more graphically better and smoother. So I enjoyed that. But I got to say, my favorite part of the event was, the demonstration of Cardano's Layer 2 Hydra, because they coded a game, an entire game called Doom on chain. It's a first person shooter game, and it was entirely running on Hydra. So every movement that you made, every shoot, everything, anything you did in the game was an on chain transaction. And if you're familiar with a game, like one of the lowest like rates a game can run is like 32 frames per second, right? 32 updates a second. And this is exactly what the game did on Hydra, 32 transactions a second. And that was pretty cool demonstration. Makes me super excited to see the future on Cardano. Them building on Hydra, and also I don't think UTXO is going anywhere anytime soon. Especially because of this Hydra thing that Cardano is releasing. So I'm just looking forward to the updates. And I'm sure we can in the future apply this on Ergo as well, right? Because of the similarities of UTXO that both chains share.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. 30 frames a second. I think they were running 3 Hydra heads to be able to do it at the time. But definitely interesting. We know you're very interested in speed. I think it's a youngin in you, MGpai. But that was pretty neat. I think that got a lot of attention there, and they seem to be pushing that on socials as well. Another cool thing about the conference was that there were actually people that showed up, business people that showed up. There were at least 3 that I spoke to directly before passing them off to Dan. And they came specifically because they're looking for things like Palmyra to get their goods out of a country. One guy was, what was that guy? Goodness, I can't remember what the heck he was trying to export. But we saw some opals that are being mined from an opal mine in, was it Washington State or Oregon or something like that? So that was pretty neat. Oh, Kushti shut off his video even though we told him not to.
Yeah, sorry. So, I realized there is some spam in the
No worries. We'll keep going.
Yeah, already cleared. Yeah. Let me check questions from Michael. Yeah, 2 seconds. So, I need to rotate my pad to read the chats. Then, it's better to switch video off than to have it chaotically been shaken.
You look there, Kushti, while I finish. So that was very interesting to see, for sure. Have people actually coming for that kind of thing. So in the future, I hope that we also have people coming for things like Rosen, or coming for the tooling that they hear about on Ergo. I mean, that's a hope, but we'll see. We'll see what happens from there. But overall, I think we had. I don't know if I was, exhilarated by the conference. Definitely next year, we should set some expectations. Like, this is what we expect. Here's some swag we're going to donate and give away instead of sell, those kind of things. So each of these is quite the learning experience for that. But overall, it did get our name out. It was proof of life there. And we have a ton of swag. We have about $4,000 left of swag, maybe $4,500 worth of swag left. And we are going to move forward kind of on a beta version of auction house swag selling. This is going to be without Unreal's help. He's busy with some other stuff right now. So for now, we're going to mint NFTs for 1-to-1 for the swag. We're going to post them on Auction House. We're also going to mint NFTs for general shipping to different countries. Post those on Auction House. You buy the NFT you want from the swag, you buy the shipping you want from the swag, and then you're just going to go to a little portal on the Sigmanauts site and enter a relay address or an address to ship it to. In our database, we'll just not burn, but we'll mark those NFTs specifically as being used and not able to be shipped to again. And we'll ship you out the product from sunny Colorado, where Mark the Shark is holding all the swag, including these amazing mining hats. They say Ergo on the backside. There we go. I'll wear mine backwards. You wear yours forward, MGpai. So we'll post all those on Auction House at some point and start announcing them and put them in our socials so people can click there, and you'll have an NFT representation of your actual product, and it'll also be used to ship you the product. So that's what we're looking for. Kushti, what's new with you? What's new with Michael? Michael's got some questions for you.
But all the 3 questions are for MGpai. Yeah, so we'll ask them during the questions round.
So what's new? You got Node 6?
Yeah, so actually, yeah, had a lot of talks with Bruno about Gleon, post Gleon, basically. Yeah, some other stablecoin constructions. Well, he has in mind. Then, yes, some well variants of hodl coin and yeah, some prediction market like scheme based on variants of hodl coin. And so on. So yeah, well, a lot of discussions and well, hopefully, well, an implementation of some new thing will be started soon. Then, yeah, well, Gleon is launched, right? And well, still it's in the soft launching stage, so there was no broad announcement from Bruno in Stability Nexus and so on, as far as I know yet. But yeah, will be done in coming days. Then, yeah, so for Dexia, well, we are still doing reviewing one by one, one contract after another and deploying. So, well, recently LP Redeem was deployed, and now, well, me and not me on this, so for ice and so on. Checking bank contracts, right, to well deploy them after. So yeah, well, soft launch will be in weeks. So I think that there is a lot actually to learn from Gleon soft launch. Then, a lot of development towards Sigma 6.0. So now there is initial pull requests for 6.0 for testnet, right? And currently I'm working on launching my own developer network kind of test network on my machine with 6.0 activated and see how it goes. So do testing transaction, maybe even this time there will be well testing kit with transactions using new features, new data type and so on. So also still polishing a lot of well features in Sigma in Perl. And yeah, so for subblocks, so mostly working still on refactoring and now doing well generation of Merkle proof for multiple leaves to then proceed with networking messages and well implement subblock exchange on P2P layer after. Yeah, so a lot of things. Yeah, well.
Guys, what's 6.0 deployment look like? What's that process look like for deployment in the mainnet?
So yeah, as usually for all the soft forks, including this one, it's about miner swatting, right? So parameters are different on my own devnet and the mainnet, but yeah, still it's about miner swatting, then automatic activation, right? And then yeah, it's about deactivation of some validation rules used to check well, a couple of validation rules will be deactivated, but yeah, they are touching on the serialization, right? And regards with doing yeah, so some checks obsolete, right? Where there is a new functionality now. And yeah, so something like that, and with that, so old versions also would be in game, right? So they will deactivate the same rules, and yeah, will skip validation of scripts not being recognized. But yeah, so well, they still will be in game, so it will be like a 5.0 soft fork, more or less.
So this will be the first vote that the Sigmanauts mining DAO will have to do on Padilla to see if we implement it or not.
Right. And yeah, so before GetBlock made some voting, right?
Right. They sent out tokens. You had to vote in a wallet. Yep, GetBlock did.
Yeah, I've forgotten, for EP 27 probably.
It's about 2 years ago, whatever that was. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was 27. I believe. Yeah, the softest fork. Only miners had to update, actually, and only miners validating, actually, EP27. So other nodes, yeah, well, don't need to do anything. All right, so yeah, also doing a lot of talks these days. Seems a lot of maybe not a lot, but some new faces in development channels, right? Yeah, questions how to fork the Ergo code base and so on. So some more projects I'm discussing, like Jumace and so on. And yeah, so for Chain Cache, I'm excited that, well, finally, I realized that API is done somehow at some point, suddenly by Dusik, Kamal, and yeah. So I realized that yeah, it's working, and yeah, I've made first mainnet chain cache transactions, actually. For minting reserve, minting first node, and then sending it to Kamal. And then, yeah, so we found an issue in contracts preventing from yeah, spending the same nodes twice for the same public key. So yeah, then contracts got updated, and yeah, the server got updated as well. So we are ready now for another round of testing. Now, well, we can include more people there, like Jumae and so on. So yeah, if anyone is interested, please visit the Telegram group. And yeah, well, let's play around.
How's the developer DAO going, Kushti?
Well, I think there is need for another rework here, because yeah, it's going quite slow. So yeah, well, let's see. So I think there is need probably to reshape it. Right, and yeah, so what we are discussing in yeah, sorry, yeah, I've clicked somewhere. Oh, okay. Yeah, so what we are discussing developers DAO is well, doing tutorials, right, and supporting some integrations like hardware wallets. And then, yeah, also supporting libraries where it's needed. So, yeah, if you need for some new feature in library, whatever, so please let us know. Then, yeah, probably, as asked for many times, there is need to update the Oracle pool software, right, to support more use case, like people asked. For betting and so on, but yeah, well, we need to formalize requirements, I guess, and then it will be possible to update the Oracle core software and the contracts probably also accordingly. All right, that's probably it.
Yeah, it's tough to it's tough to. I think I spoke with who was it? I interviewed with Mark the Shark and Tim Erg on their show while I was in Vegas, and one of the things I said was, it's tough when you're trying to, like Kushti, you're trying to kickstart the developer DAO. And unless you find somebody specifically to spearhead that with you or for you or, you know, alongside you, it's really tough to get something started when you only have like 5% of your time to dedicate to it. So I was saying the same thing about the Good Things DAO, and that I'd love to, in the near future, perhaps step away from the Sigmanauts for a couple months just to focus on the Good Things DAO and get that bolstered up and spearheaded and get some people in there and more funds in there. And then when that's good, you know, return to more things at the Sigmanauts. So it may come to that, actually, because I don't want to see, you know, it's been slow burning for too long and I really want it to pick up. So that's really, it's really tough to start something when you have like 1 to 5% time stream to do it. So sometimes
I think there is a need to experiment with different formats, right, to find the efficient ones, because, well, it's not probably the ordinary setting, right? So we have people from all the different time zones, right, and all the possible different cultures, and then level of dedication, right, is varying from time to time, and so on. So there is need to find an efficient structure for that, and I think that's doable after all. And so, also we are having a lot of chats in the main group, right, and so on, periodically now, on what makes it Ergo, and I think a lot of materials will appear, hopefully, from that. Let's see.
Cool.
But I think in general, so the Ergo position is quite unique at the moment, right? So, it's like fully open sourced and the most permissionless, license-wise financial stack, probably, right?
I agree. And it makes me... Sometimes these shows, definitely last year at the CNFT Con, and not as much this year at Rare, but sometimes I leave a little depressed about the whole ecosystem and space as a whole from these conferences, just because, you know, we kind of live in a bubble. We're around Ergo where everything's shared, where we all push towards, you know, things that potentially will better society and give more freedom to everybody's personal financial state there. And then we go to these conferences and we're like, oh, you know, if you fluff me, I'll give you an NFT kind of thing. And it's quite the different experience when you go to these things. So it's nice to return. It's nice to go to get a reminder of what we do here and why we do it, which is great. I think we got a question for MGpai right here, right off the bat.
Oh, so we have four questions for MGpai, right? So
we got a question for MGpai. Yep.
So 3 from Mike, and
Let's do Vidam first. He says, "Hi guys, MGpai. How is Keystone integration doing? Will you need some help from us as a community? Will integration be as long as Ledger?"
Yeah, sure. So no, integration won't be as long as Ledger. It's much simpler, or at least much more like frictionless, because you got to like talk to a lot of people for Ledger, or at least get like, you know, official approval, which takes a lot of time. So Keystone will be much faster. I was just busy in the last few weeks traveling and all, but I started back on the Keystone integration, and it's going pretty well. And yeah, we're probably going to reach out for help from the Ergo DAOs. I just got to structure and know what exactly the responsibilities of whoever will help, what that will be. But I'm working with myself and Nemo on getting this together.
Awesome. And don't forget, you have to go to school, MGpai, and succeed there too. Let's not let that slip. Kush, do you have the questions on your end for MGpai from Mike?
Yeah, so one is a duplicate of that. So another question is when Ergo names, Michael's question.
Yeah, sure. So
Quokka yelled that to you as well at Rare Evo.
Yeah, a lot of people are
screamed
yelling at me on this.
When the Ergo names.
So yeah, it's getting it's not complete yet, unfortunately, as I wanted. But there were some issues in the contract, or at least issues of actually implementing some things. So we just doing a small refactor of the contracts to get it working, and then my friend Luca LGD is working on that, and once that's done, we're going to again begin the the off-chain implementation. So it's like nearly there, maybe like 70% there. But luckily, once all this is out, like not many like upgrades or anything will be needed in future, because it's quite robust. We thought of a lot of things, with the payment structure, so you can like pay with any token you want, and then we have subnames, recursive subnames from the start. So it's going to be a really cool thing once launched.
Nice. And we saw what's the Cardano side is handle, right?
Yes, ADA handles, yeah.
Well, they put a money sign in front of the word handle. So every time I look at it, I want to say shit handle. It's very confusing visually. But yeah, we saw Quokka over there at Handle. He works for Handle as well. And that brings us to our next question. So I think Kilver asked, where is Kilver? Do we have any update on Sky Harbor's team progress? Last I heard, yes, there was some progress done. I think he mentioned it last weekend, but he's fully aware as well that that I'm going to make a Sigmanauts proposal to fork that and try to get funds for a dev that will agree to being paid from the revenue stream from the front end of that. So we're all on board. We're pushing for it, and we hope to keep it sustained. We don't want it to just be a fix, and then in 1 year we're going to run into the same problem where it's not updated and that kind of thing. The idea is Quokka's team is going to fix it, release it, and then hopefully SIGs vote to fork it and find a dev that will work from the revenue stream there, as well as the SIGs management, and keep it going forward there. So excited about that. Kushti, you got another question for MGpai?
Oh yeah, so another question from Michael, the last one is how Zengate's development is going for Ergo?
Yeah, sure. So right now, it's going quite well. We're moving forward. Zengate's been in the talks with a lot of different teams and all for potential like people onboarding to our marketplace, and also that front's going quite nice. Again, I can't really talk much about this. Again, coding wise, we've been focused on Ergo integration onto our Palmyra Pro application. And Palmyra Pro is something that businesses will use directly to add metadata to their commodity itself, right? So that's the entry point into traceability, and the phone application itself is what's going to be directly connected to Ergo chain. And we're going to be putting traceability from like the metadata the businesses input on their commodity, and that's directly going to be stored on Ergo.
Right.
Awesome.
Good. Thank you. And so talking also with Sam these days periodically. And yeah, it seems he's interested in all that Ergo stuff, right? like Gleon and Dexy chain cache.
Talking with who? Who'd you say you're talking to?
Sam. So
oh, Sam from Zengate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, we got another question here. This is for maybe everybody. From Wow Nero Yoyer. What would be I butchered that. What would be the downsides of extending the duration of Ergo Hack? Wouldn't it potentially increase the amount of people that consider joining?
Oh,
yeah.
so
I think it should be increased. Yeah.
I think that already was done, right? So they had a long Ergo hack once, I believe. So they were very different also.
What happened during that? Was it successful?
I've forgotten actually. Probably it was pretty much the same. So yeah, I don't know. So the problem with long Ergo hacks, people are getting distracted with real life matters, right? So probably doing pretty much the same as in 3 days. Because everyone usually, especially developers, so everyone is busy, right?
Why not like a month-long Ergo hack? That would be fun.
Because I need to see my wife, MGpai. The last Ergo hack, I spent 4 days not seeing my wife at all.
You can work the weekends, no?
Yeah, so pretty much the same. So it could be 1 month or 1 year, but people do have families, jobs, right, all that stuff. So yeah, then they would pretty much spend just 1 or 2 weekends, right? No more anyway. So yeah, then I think there is no much difference for most of people, right? Between the three days and 1 month. Well, anyway, 3 days would be dedicated only at most.
I forgot to mention too, on a side note about Rare Evo, we had a full rig set up. I brought my my Razer laptop that I used to use as a mining test net, mining core, and I threw up Cyberverse on it. And Mr. Pixel made us a character, gave it some tools, and renamed it Rare Evo, and we left it there. And while that booth didn't really facilitate a fun, or not a fun, but easy to play environment, you know, it's table level. We probably should have had a booth up high, so like the other gaming booths where they could do it. Everybody that saw it absolutely loved it. They loved the play to earn kind of feature of it. They loved the fact that you own all your NFTs with that. 100% positive from it. I hope that Mr. Pixel sees some increased or maybe some more foot traffic in there from that, but we'll see what he says. But super cool. I mean, it was very unique. There was one other game there on the other side, I think made by the DC Spark guys, that was kind of similar pixel based, but nothing that's kind of quite the look as Cyberverse. Cyberverse has that neon kind of before I was born, or the century I was born in, decade I was born in, kind of look that gives you that nostalgicness, whereas the other games are more or less, they look like Farmville, that kind of thing. Cyberverse is very unique. So lots of positive responses from that and having that there. So that's something that I could do every time as well. More of those kind of demos. Maybe we can set them up better next time. Bring headphones, bring a dedicated like pillar where the stuff can be set up and go from there. But lots of stuff to learn from there. All right, we got another question. Kushti, what are the options you are discussing for the initial use for chain cache? That's from Wombo22.
So actually, what I'm discussing with peers and thinking about is the following option. So The first one is to use it for communities, right? So mostly trust-based currencies, then like local exchange trading systems. Let's write. Then yeah, it's about one UI, right? Then yeah, different